The American government shuts down at midnight. The number 3 member of Republican congressional leadership is here at the top of the show to explain why. Plus, Pearson Sharp is back from the front lines in Russia. He'll tell us what Western media is missing. We'll expose the Anti-Defamation League for being the hate group they are, and head to the campaign trail with congressional candidate and former NFL kicker Jay Thiele. It's all next on the Matt Gaetz Show. Let's do this. We're shaking up Washington, D.C. We're breaking the fever.
You ever watch this guy on television? It's like a machine. He's great. Matt Gaetz.
As we join you this evening, the United States government is preparing to go into shutdown mode. Republicans have passed a government funding extension bill with no major changes. Democrats are demanding a lot. They want a renegotiation of the budget and policy wins that Republicans secured in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Democrats want to solidify Obamacare, end the deportations, restore foreign aid to other countries, and include a variety of new spending programs. They also want to refund PBS. If your eyes glazed over as I gave you that list, we don't blame you. It's the usual list of Democrat demands. But should the entire government be held hostage over them? Our understanding is that during a shutdown, military, TSA, Border Patrol, ICE, and others are either furloughed or they must keep working without pay. Their pay is ultimately restored, but it creates a crunch for those families in the interim. Republican Congressman Marlin Stutzman told us the Democrats should be careful what they wish for. A shutdown makes Trump stronger.
If Schumer shuts the government down, Trump is more powerful.
Joining us now is the number 3 member of Republican House leadership, Whip Tom Emmer of Minnesota. Tom, thanks for joining me. A lot of people will wake up tomorrow, the government may be shut down, and they'll be wondering why this is happening. What's the Republican message?
Good to be with you, Matt. Good to see you. The message is very simple. It really is that House Republicans have done their job. We have a short-term, nonpartisan, current funding level continuing resolution that'll keep the government open until the 21st of November. And as you know, Matt, firsthand, in some cases, the goal around here is to get back to a regular order appropriations process. Back in the second week of September, the Senate and the House both passed motions to go to conference for the first time since 2018. So they're working on closing up 3 of the 12 bills. They've got another 3 ready to go. They say they're very close. So this gives them a little time to see if we can get that done. And there are no poison pills, as you remember. Something Nancy Pelosi used to do is sprinkle this stuff full of Democrat priorities. There's nothing in there whatsoever. And quite frankly, Matt, the Democrats, Chuck Schumer in the Senate was all in support of this just 6 months ago. And frankly, his colleagues and him voted for the same thing 13 times under the Biden administration. If they're stupid enough to shut this down tonight, Matt, they're going to own it.
Well, the stupidity of that for Democrats would be astounding. But what are they right now actually demanding? What is it that they want from you other than an extension of literally Joe Biden's negotiated budget?
Well, the beauty is they filed a bill that they're voting on right now over in the Senate chamber. So you can see what they want. They want $1.5 trillion in new spending, Matt. They want to unwind the reforms that Republicans in the House did to Medicaid, which makes sure that 1.4 million illegals do not get government or taxpayer-funded health care. They want to give $500 million to left-wing radical news outlets. They want to take away the $50 billion in rural health care funds, and they want to continue to fund with millions of dollars, billions of dollars, climate projects in foreign countries, Matt. That's not negotiating. That's insane. That's exactly what 77 million people voted for Donald Trump last November. They're sick and tired of these misplaced Democrat priorities. Republicans have done their job. Democrats, if they shut this down, it's going to be the Schumer shutdown.
I know President Trump doesn't want a shutdown because I know he has great empathy for the people that would impact who have no role in this political quagmire. Democrats seem to want to roll back some of the wins that you helped get in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Is there a single piece of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act that you would put on the table now to renegotiate to keep the government open?
Absolutely not. And you're right about Donald J. Trump. He doesn't want a shutdown. That's why he's willing to do a continuing resolution that was passed by the House for 7 weeks to let them get the work done. Let Republicans and Democrats in the conference committee negotiate this thing out. But, Chuck Schumer, what you're dealing with, Matt, and you know this, you're dealing with a scared old man who's afraid of losing his position. So he is playing politics with this shutdown where he should be putting the American people first. And hopefully they'll come to their senses before 12:01 tomorrow morning.
Even though it seems irrational, the politics may be leaning in their favor. I saw a Morning Consult poll this morning that indicated by a margin of 45 to 32, the American people would blame Republicans for this shutdown. How do you change that?
Yeah, well, I don't buy that. I mean, there's a New York Times poll out there that says 65% of Democrats that were polled don't believe the government should be shut down. There's stuff all over the place, Matt. Bottom line is this. The American people are smart. You know that. The American people are going to take all of this garbage that's being spewed by these other left-leaning networks that are trying to spin their own narrative. At the end of the day, they're going to realize, wait a second. Republicans in the House did their job. They passed a clean funding bill for the next 7 weeks. And these guys want to unwind all of it and spend another $1.5 trillion. That's what we voted for Donald Trump to take care of last November. And that's what he's been doing. This shutdown and all the manure splatter that comes with it is going right on Chuck Schumer and Democrats, Matt.
You have this unique tick in Washington. It makes you very, very special. You don't lie to people, and that's not a frequent trait we find. But that really causes a lot of people to trust you when there are earnest, productive discussions going on to try to get out of what would be a bad situation for a lot of Americans. Right now, are there any talks going on with reasonable Senate Democrats? Are there any reasonable Senate Democrats left? Like, I can't imagine Tim Kaine wants to see a bunch of Virginians furloughed. I can't imagine Chris Van Hollen wants to see a lot of people in Maryland suffer because of a political dispute. Is there anything that suggests that there might be a group that breaks away from Schumer and sees this to be the folly that it is?
Well, the one that seems to make the most sense is the one that's recovering from a stroke, John Fetterman. You wouldn't wish that on anybody,
No.
He's recovering. But John Fetterman makes the most sense out of all of them. And yes, when you talk about the senators from Maryland, when you talk about the senators from Virginia, when you talk about senators from New Jersey, from New York, they are going to have, from Georgia, they are going to have a very difficult vote if they're going to go off the end of the pier with the Pied Piper Schumer. This thing, look, you could actually, you see the lieutenant governor in Virginia closing the gap with our former colleague, Abigail Spanberger. If they shut the government down, that is felony dumb because of all the federal workers in Virginia and, more importantly, all the federal contractors, Matt. I don't think a lot of people understand that federal workers usually get furloughed. I know that Russ Vought and the president might be talking about something different here, but they usually get furloughed, and when you reopen, they get back pay. You know what? Federal contractors just lose the money. The stakes here are very high. It could actually determine a couple of governorships in New Jersey and Virginia. They're playing with fire, and they're going to own this shutdown, Matt. Regardless of what the polls are saying today, you know this. I told you you were one of the best communicators I ever worked with. As we go through this thing, we will continue to tell the truth. And guess what? What we say is going to match what happens. And that's why the American public is going to be with Republicans again next November.
I know how hard it is for you to whip up 218 votes just on like what toppings will be on the pizza at lunch. So the fact that you have a unified Republican team right now does seem to be an advantage you have. There has been another advantage posited, and you talked about Russ Vought, President Trump's head of the Office of Management and Budget. Marlin Stutzman came on our program and said, look, this could make Trump stronger. Democrats could actually regret doing this because there could be powers in a shutdown the executive branch utilizes that would have been unavailable previously. Are you buying that? Is the Trump administration thinking about that? And what visibility can you give us into their preparations for a shutdown if Chuck Schumer does visit that on the country?
Well, I have a lot of respect for Marlin, and it's great to have him back because he's a very productive legislator and a great conservative. But for me, I mean, can you make Donald Trump any more powerful? I mean, if you can, I suppose, but really, Donald Trump has turned into something way beyond the man. He carries a certain strength with him that no one else in politics here in America or around the globe carries. He literally is the movement itself right now, and I just don't know how you make him stronger. This is why Democrats are playing a fool's game because, look, Donald Trump, just because you don't like Donald Trump doesn't mean you want to take on this ridiculous fight with no way out. Donald Trump has the high ground here. Just acknowledge you're going to do the right thing for the American people instead of trying to exercise your demons with the guy you don't like in the White House, because that's going to come back to haunt Chuck Schumer and Democrats in November.
No question about it. And as someone who has led the campaign arm of the Republican team, I'm sure you've got the ads teed up right now. The number 3 man in the House of Representatives, the whip of the House, Tom Emmer of Minnesota. Thanks for coming on the program and joining me.
Great to be with you, Matt.